It's Alex Williamson here, and it is the secret history living in your aquarium. Live, baby. What's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? Gotta mute my phone. Forgot to do that. Whoops. Okay, done it. So, how's everybody doing? We feeling good? We doing good? I'm dealing with allergies, so don't mind me if I try not to talk. If I try not to claw my eyes out. It's been one of those days where it's windy and it is also just full of pollen out in my area. I don't know if you guys are dealing with the same. And it's beverage time. If you have one, it's time. If you don't, it's time to get one. It's the banquet soda. So how is everybody doing? I see lots of good people in here. I see Screaming Fly Productions. Elsie. How are you doing, man? Sally Ball's brother, how are you? Good to see you. Sewer Pipe Casso, hello. Good to see you as well. Craig, Kendrick, Adam, let's see here. The element, or the 186 element, rather. Depths Unknown, it's Jason, one of the, what will we call it? One of the people who would be found guilty in a RICO indictment of the Pack-a-Bowl competition. He's one of the proponents of this devastating and degenerate fish packing competition. So basically, the idea is to take as much life as you can and smash it into a bowl. Or at least that's what PETA told me. I don't know. I didn't read the details. So, Gene, what's up? The Yeti, good to see you. And I agree, they did pick a good contest name. I think it's funny. People who don't get it won't get it. That's fine. The people who do get it will get a chuckle out of it. Jenny Lynn, what's up? 3G. And David, hello. Brian, hello. Carol, hello. Average Fish Keeper, hello. Let's see here. SC, hello. Is that SC Calahassis or whatever your name was? Did you change it? Did you shorten it? Do I have the wrong person? Am I going insane? Do I smell almonds? Let's see here. Bunny Viper, what's up? Good to see you. Liquid Zoo, also another one of those folks, along with Ed, who is plotting this packing of bowl situation going on, I believe. Nola Dolls, hello. Davo, hello. Hello. Patty, what's going on? You want to see my bowl? To see my hole. Don't leave you cold. All right. We could do a little freestyle. Fish. Gone wild. Collecting in the lake. Right by my house. Catching lots of loaches. Not catching mouse. That shows that I'm not a rapper. I'm done. Okay, let's see here. Fish Tropic, what's up? Linda Worth, Blind Fish Keeper, what is up, buddy? How are you doing? Good to see you. I'll say it. All right. Let's see here. Kimma's a Fish Hobby, hello. Welcome also. Gloria, hello. Who else is in here? Man, y'all creeping in. Sage, hello. And Christina, hello. So, I have some new friends, and I feel like they want to meet you. Well, they were going nuts a second ago. Oh, here we go. Now you can see them better. So, this is the newest mineral water. And if you look under the microscope, and actually, if you put uranium in the water, and it creates a super huge form of the microbes, and this is what's actually in bottled water under the microscope. these these giant microbes. No, so what these are dojo loaches. Last year, if you guys watched the channel, you know that I found my way onto an abandoned military base. Let's say found my way there. And I found also in an area these. I saw something swimming that I thought was a snakehead, honestly. I thought it was a big old snakehead, and it was over a foot long. I managed to catch one of them, not that one, I don't think, but one of them last year that was 18 inches. Now, dojo loaches are usually like a foot max or maybe 14 inches max in the hobby, generally speaking, but they're probably getting close to foot and a half, maybe even pushing 2 feet, honestly, is what some of them look like to me. And they were like taking down baby ducks, like that level of size. And so I figured if those were surviving year round in a pond that freezes completely over, that they must be reproducing there. If there were enough that I had seen them, didn't think it was a one-off. So did investigating again last weekend and again yesterday, and in not even 15 scoops of the net, I got 7 more loaches, including this one that is straight up baby. It's not even an inch and a half long. And I thought it was a worm at first, like a caddisfly or nymph or, some sort of little creepy crawly in the net. Like, because you usually pull out all these dragonfly nymphs and I don't know, whatever. There's like, I should really learn some of them, but there's a lot that look terrifying, especially right now. You wait another month and you find their exoskeletons, but right now you find them and a lot of them have like these crazy mandibles and like 6 legs and wings and a giant jaws, or what do you call them? Not proboscis, but mandibles. Look at pretty crazy. Scotty the Fish Freak, hello, hello, hello. Mark Sterlson, hello, hello. Let's see here. Hello, Freshwater Ichthyology. Vinoski, what up? How's it going? Sandio, how's it going? It is so good to have you guys hanging out. So, as I have promised, all my videos, all the videos that have come out in the last 2 weeks, they're all under 20 minutes, like I said they would be. No exceptions, except for all the videos that came out in the last week. I'm working on it though, guys. Okay, I'm working on it. I feel like the species spotlight that I did, I feel like it was a good one, and like I mean I could have talked faster. I did a couple things that were a little redundant, but when you do it in one take, like I try to do, like taking it all, like speaking to you just from the heart, and maybe with some facts written that I have like in front or rather behind the camera, just like dates and things like that, names or pronunciations of Latin things. That's just how I like to do it, and it's gotten me this far, and I'm trying to leave out info and still be as detailed, but just describe less of a story and do it in several parts. But it's hard for me, so I'm working on it. They weren't 30 minutes; they could have been. The amount of material I had that I decided to kind of cut up and rejoin together. And in the new species spotlight, which is doing terribly, like I think it's doing worse than any video's done in like 4 or 5 months. But in that video, it's kind of cool. You can see some of my pencil fish, and you can see them in the dark, how they have completely different patterns. And then in the day, their pattern goes from horizontal to vertical, and you see it in 2 species, which is kind of fun. Carlos, hello. Rob's Aquarium Room, hello. Sketty Nana, Nona. I think it's Nona. Hello. And Carolyn, hello. Also good to see you. Kendrick, good to see you as well. So, what would you guys like to talk about? These live streams are all about you. So, I have the thought that we could talk about the Pack a Bowl contest. And Adam, thank you. You like the long videos? I mean, I'm going to try to keep them very um, info dense, so hopefully not too much like just dead noise or whatever. So, yeah. You want to talk about you, huh? Well, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Let's go. I think what was that? Some sort of giant critter just came by. I'm going to add Liquid Zoo. You are now a moderator, and so you can post links to the contest if you would like. Any info, whatever you want to post. Please share the bowl contest info with us, with the world. Yes, Patty says yes. Let's talk about Pack a Bowl. Promise you a little peek. Don't be a tease, dear. Okay, all right. Here's my bowl, Patty. It's actually my new haircut. I'm gonna get extensions put in. I think they'll look pretty cool. They're purplish, seafoam and purple, and they're shaped like little hearts. Um, all right, so let's actually take a look. This is not this year's entry, but I'm gonna start with a tease, which is this is what happens when you start with a small bowl and you allow any moss to exist. What's going to happen is the moss will completely take over. And this is the side, this is kind of interesting. So this is the side that faces the sunlight. It doesn't get a ton of direct sunlight, but you can see how much, I mean, one, there's some algae and stuff, but you can actually see all the gas bubbles on this side that are stuck right here. These are all gas bubbles. I know they probably look like gravel and in the video, but they're gas bubbles, and it's from the photosynthesis. It's purling, but stuck on a large scale, and you can see it happening halfway up the bowl over here too, where we've got Christmas moss and then flame moss and then some other moss too. But I just wanted to show you what happens when you plant a little teeny bowl. It's actually probably been closer to 3 years total. Yeah, because it was well before the lockdown stuff. But basically, it just becomes a device, or a what do I want to call it? A vessel for moss. Interestingly, though, it's moss that actually has. If we zoom in, whoa! Stop it, phone. Come on, bad camera lens. The moss actually has little spores on it. So you can actually see where the spores have come off. Certain mosses will actually send up little flowers, for lack of a better word. They're not actually called flowers. And those have the spores, which they reproduce with. And they're one of the older plants, with lichen and algae and all that stuff. One of the early plants was ferns and bladderworts and stuff. And so, hey, crow is meddling in my business. So yeah, that's one of the ways they actually reproduce, and they clone themselves. So I'm trying not to show the main bowl for a sec here, but I will show you guys I'll show them all to you, but here you go, Patty. So there's nothing other than shrimp in here right now. And the color looks terrible on live streams. Can you guys make out the color? Can you guys tell that this is a bright red plant in the front here? I doubt that you can, but it is. And it's set up kind of like, it is an iwagumi. It follows the rules of iwagumi. And then it's set up, this one holds just over a gallon of water total. And this one's probably been set up for a week and a half now, a week. And it's just sand substrate, but I tried to make it look like there were fallen columns, like those pillars that you see sticking up. The bowl really warps things, but like one of the columns fell, so I took a rock and I broke it into three pieces. So there's kind of like that, and then there's growth in between it. And then here, I tried to make it look like it was an arrangement of like a mountain range, so that there were like spikes coming out that get progressively lower, and one's weathered, and then there's another piece of rock on the ground by it. And then if we turn this around, then there's kind of a backing of greenery, which is honestly just stone and then plants on top of that. But you can see like what a different build this looks like. And I just took moss from a tank that was very, very low light and then put it in here. What's interesting though is that I put two Malua shrimp in here, including one that was very pregnant and I thought was about to give birth, but I don't see her anywhere. And then there, oh, I just knocked it loose too. But there is a Nubius petite Nana that I'm just tucking back in between the little mountain rocks. And then there is also a little bit of Busa philandra. And then this red one, obviously, is, oh, it looks like a snail got in, and he's on the red spiralis. So this is a crypt spiralis, and it is a red tiger variety of the crypt spiralis. And then we've got some mini butterfly rotala. It looks like a little piece just broke loose also as I was turning it, and just those little waves do it. Water changes are very tricky. And then we've got Hydrocotyle verticillata, and it's one from a tank that was very, very dark. And that way I figured it would do okay without a light on it of its own and just ambient light in the window. And then over here we've got Mayaka, which is very fast growing. And so that is supposed to serve as kind of the background for the scene of this tower, which has low stones, a low stone here, a secondary stone, the main stone. So in Iwagumi, you always use prime numbers if you can. And you have one stone, and then you have another stone, and it can be any shape, size. It could be a whole ridge. I mean, it could be all the way from here to here if this container was bigger. But then you want a ridge that is something like 2/3 to 3/4 the size of the height of the first stone, which is your focal point. And then the third stone should be about a third. So these little ones down here are where it would be. And then what you would do is you'd have two that are basically very small, and one is so small that they basically call it the throwaway stone. But it's also kind of goes by the name like keystone because it is kind of like a good luck thing, and it sets the scale for your biggest stone and your smallest stone. So it should also have the same texture and color and lay, and if you've laid it out like a formation that's a real geological one, it's important to follow that same template so that it kind of comes out similar. So I just wanted to show you guys that one, and then I'm going to read some comments, and then the other thing I was going to show you is that I got some more. I couldn't help myself, guys. Also, we got these cories, which I think are going to spawn in the next few days, but the more impressive thing going on in here is the fact that you see this is a Aponigeton crispus, and what's great about that is, oh, and here is, so talk about hard to tell apart, right, guys? This is one of my Nanostoma unifasciatus. I was thinking of lineatus. and it's out of the little bag. Well, these are a different species. These are the Nanostoma equus, and I got these at Aquarium Co-op. But now that I look at them, so look at the difference here, guys. So they're supposed to all be equus in this bag, and you see the texturing, like the black texturing on these ones in the front here. There's a texture on 3 of them, and then the bottom 3 have no texture. They have just like silver scales, whereas these ones you can see the scaling. You can see like darker lines around each scale from the under tones. And so I'm wondering if there's actually 2 types of pencilfish in this bag, but you can see that the males have that little anal fin underneath, or adipose fin, I guess, maybe. No, it's an anal fin. Yeah, it's an anal fin. And it's red and black on this little dude. Now these are ones that hang out at an angle too, but the ones that I just got the other day from the Wet Spot aquarium and tropical fish, where'd they go? They were all just hanging out right next to the bag. They look very similar, and they are very similar, but I mean, they look so similar, yeah, these guys here, that I would be hard pressed to tell the difference. So I was going to put them together, but now I'm questioning that, and I'm also even questioning whether they have the right fish. Because look at this. This guy's got the little red and black triangles on his little anal fin there on the bottom. And they also have that kind of pattern, or I guess texture. Let's see if we can bring more light onto them. Yeah, here we go. So these guys also have that. They kind of, this one, the male, definitely has kind of a red nose even. But you can see they've got more gold on them, more gold colors, and their eyes half and half. So I'm kind of just like looking at these ones because, I haven't been researching these all day. Whereas the other ones I just covered for a video. I think they mixed up. I think there's some of each in this bag here. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of reedy-roo and find out what's going on, or find an expert. But anyways, the cool part about the Aponigeton is that this beautiful, which I wish the live stream colors would do justice to what's going on in my tanks. But this is just a beautiful plant, and it's doing well. And we know that when I grew it out the first time, about a year and a half ago now, it came up with that big spike, and then it had the flower bud that was really tight. And so I pollinated it early on, and we got the actual little nodes off of it, and I planted them over in this aquarium. Don't worry, that Windex is not being used to clean the aquarium. It was being used by my wife on the TV, which I don't know if that's what you're supposed to clean the TV with either. But so yeah, in any case, what's exciting is that the seeds sprouted. So as long as nothing chews them up, we should be good on getting a second super red, unless for some reason it's not super red. But I'm assuming that just because it's a baby plant that's 6 inches tall, and it's been in medium light over here in this tank, that's why it's doing what it's doing. Now, the other thing that's going on in this tank that's all new news the last 2 days is my other pencil fish. It's just a pencil fish kind of day. My other Bickford eye pencil fish, they were so full of eggs that I just needed to move 3 of the females. So I moved them and gave them a couple studly males. And what's going on in this tank is it's just blue shrimp at the moment that I got from Grant Eater. And Yeah, just shrimp, and then oh, you can see there. This one's hungry now. Um, but this is where I've raised them in the past, and when I leave it very, very thick and tangled, like here and up here, hey, there's another little shrimp. They naturally are able to just have babies that survive, and you'll find them in the corner swimming. If you leave a little room for little teeny fry to swim, and then just a tangle of plants up to that point, that works really, really well. So, all right, back to me for a moment. Let me catch up with your comments. And that's weird. It did some weird little thing where it popped up, a dollar sign just popped up on my screen. Oh, my face is so itchy. Sorry, guys. Let me put you guys on. Oh, you're looking down my shirt. Put you guys on the tripodamus. All right. That feels better. No, don't do the crazy zoom thing, you silly camera. All right. So, all right. They have a 1 gallon bowl at Walmart for $6 or $7. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Alex, what plants do the best in gravel only? Probably I would suggest any of the low light friendly plants because they tend to do better in general with less being less catered to, if that makes sense. I would use very I would recommend very heavily rhizome plants, so plants that feed directly from the water column. Obviously, any floating plants, but again, bulb plants do well too, sword plants. And actually, you know what? A fair amount of crypts do okay if the water has nutrients in it or fertilizer in it, at least past kind of a basic base level, like using a all-in-one, or if you want to do the estimative index dosing, that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, so I mean that I would say Aponogeton's, Java fern, and different mosses do pretty well. Kind of depends on the type of light you have as well. But if you have a highlight, you can get away with a lot of different little crypts and kind of intermediate stem plants like everything from wisteria and water sprite and all those ones. Basically, if Aquarium Co-op carries the plant, other than probably crypt, pink flamingo, and I'm trying to think what else they have that wouldn't be friendly. Um, yeah, probably that's the main one that I think wouldn't do well. But other than that, pretty much all the plants that they sell are kind of designed to be for low tech or gravel or low light, or all of the above. And yeah, I would look at those. And then there's more varieties of those. So obviously, if you see that Anubias Nana Petite works, then you might know that Anubias um, Pinto, if you've got a good light, would work. That's not the best example because that gets more demanding with the albino plants. But okay, let's say Valsinaria, and if there's like a metallic val or a spiral val, then that will work well. So look into those plants on Aquarium Co-op's website as a starter. I would say that gives you like 25 plant species because he doesn't really cater to anything that's exotic or rare or hard to keep. It's all very like beginner gravel plant setup, and that keeps customers a lot happier too. So they're not like mad when they inevitably can't support the plants in their non CO2 tank or whatnot. Um, Elijah, I'm setting up a new double rack with two 40-gallon breeders. I'd love to start breeding angels again, but what else is cool and relatively moderate in care? I would say get yourself some. You could get yourself a few pairs of rams or apistos. Something unusual and colorful. Usually, colorful does better. Um, but you could do that and then have kind of a community tank as well because cichlids are going to take care of their babies. The other thing that always does well, if you're trying to breed for sale, profit, or just for fun to give away to people, um, half beaks are really fun and kind of an interesting one that not everybody knows about. Same with like the goodeids and some of the native species of live bears to Mexico. Like the lamia or the um, well, even like the little least killifish and things like that. Those are all pretty cool fish. Could probably make you some money. And then, of course, I have to recommend corridoras. Corridoras are going to be an absolutely great choice for a 40 breeder. Let's see here. Bunny Viper says, I also enjoy longer videos. On a side note, Alex, I just watched another one of yours right before this. Thank you. Filterless bowl just sounds tempting. I need to use my secondhand bio orb. Yeah, so I should talk about that. When we look at the one I'm going to enter into the Pack a Bowl contest, which has been linked by Liquid Zoo in the chat, then I'll go over my thoughts on filterless bowls and so forth. Brooklyn Bell, hello. You and Steven are doing your own bowls tomorrow? Right on, that's cool. Pack a bowl, don't mind if I do. Go for it, Shane. All right, let's see here. I'm way behind, so let me jump ahead. Looks cool, Alex. Hope you post pictures of it. Okay, let's see here. Must still be way behind. That's just a small bowl of awesome. Oh, okay. Depths unknown, Mr. Jason. Taking notes on what what plants, so I can just copy it exactly. Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you want to lose, it's probably a good way to do it. Why reinvent the bowl? Is it Xiang Zen or Xiang Zen? My Endlers are doing awesome. They're the Endlers and guppies and hybrids of the two. They're doing great. They're just swimming up above in their normal spot. Nothing really to report. Other than the ones from last week that we showed up close on the live stream. Let's see here. Freshwater, I have... Oh, you guys are talking to... How much more black can those angelfish... Oh, yeah, over there. They're super black. And then they're also metallic underneath that, which is interesting. Because usually the metallic gene, the iridophore gene, is on the scales. This one, it's actually on the flesh. And so they have like little shimmers of light that almost look like cracks. And when they get in fights, you can really see it. Cheryl, California, hello, how's it going? And the other thing that I wanted to tell you all, thank you so very much for the super thank you or whatever they're calling it on uploaded videos. A few of you guys, and I think I thanked the folks who did it, but a few of you actually donated like, $3 or $5 or whatever dollars, $10 in one case, I think, which I was like, wow, that's awesome. On the videos themselves. Now you can go back and if there's any video you enjoy or whatever, you can actually donate the same as a super chat, except it looks like they're keeping 30%, and I don't know if that's across the board now what it's going to be, or if, because I live in Washington State and we have a sales tax of 10%, if they take out a 10% and they don't count that in the federal total for YouTube's policy. But regardless, it seems like it's actually passing on more to the creator, which is cool. And on that note too, if you guys ever want to support the channel, then PayPal and Venmo are a good way to do it. Not just for me, but for any channel. If they have another outside source, it's always a great way to support that, because then you don't lose basically 30 or 40% to nothing, essentially, to YouTube, who already gets their ads and so forth. Let's see here. So, trying to read all your stuff, everybody. New Mexico Aquatics, what is going on? Can you please discuss breeding Pseudomugil gertrude? I have 8 of them in a 75-gallon. I think I have a video on breeding Pseudomugil gertrude or the Pseudomugil luminatus, or it might be the Pseudomugil. What's the other one that I made a video on? There's the luminatus. Furcata maybe. But basically, you put in a spawning mop, feed them as much protein as you can, so bloodworms, baby brine shrimp, that kind of thing. It can be just a tank with nothing but a mop in it if you want. That's the kind of classic way to do it. No substrate or anything, just a filter and a mop. And then you basically feed them sparingly while they're in that tank. You bulk them up in the few weeks beforehand, and then you put them into that tank. And it can be as small as like a 10-gallon, I would say, is probably as small as you want to go. And then they'll spawn in the little mop, and they should spawn every single morning, at least like an egg per female. Sometimes it's 15 eggs, sometimes they skip a day, but in theory, the average spawns 1 to 3 eggs a day. And if you load them up with some protein ahead of time, especially if you can split the male and female up into 2 different aquariums, like put some of the males already in the container with the mop, and you feed them baby brine shrimp and tubifex worms or black worms or whatever it is that they really dig. It's a high protein snack, and you can feed them flake food too, but it just works better if it's live food. So then you get them all fat and sassy, and you can do the same with the females back in their main tank or their community tank or whatnot. It could be an all planted tank, and then you take the females, combine them back with the males in the more empty tank. And then that spawning mop, you can then pull out the whole mop, or you can take out the adults, put them somewhere else, leave that mop in there, and in about, depending on the water temperature, in about 10 days usually, anywhere from 8 to 15 days is kind of the norm at most aquarium temperatures. But on the warmer spectrum, it can be like all the way down to 7 days or so, and on the other end it could be all the way up to 21, 22 days if it's cold, like if it's 70 or 68 degrees. But the eggs will, somewhere in the basically 2 to 3 week range, will then hatch, and then you'll have little babies. But the eggs on the mop, you'll see them, and they're firm enough, they have a hard enough membrane on them that you can look through the threads of the mop. You can pull the whole thing out of the tank, and then you'll find them like little glass beads, little teeny tiny beads. Like if you were to take a grain of rice and look at the end of it, not the lengthwise of it, that's about the size, maybe a little smaller than that even. But super cool and fun to spawn, definitely. Or you could just put a mop in and let them go to town. Like my mop here. Let me show you real quick. My mop on my Pseudomugil tank right now that has both thread fins, and that spawning is really true with almost any of the rainbows and any of the Pseudomugils. But my spawning mop in here is just moss on an outflow pipe, and the shrimp that are in here actually clean the eggs that they lay. Oh no, there's a dead fish! No! It's one of my Valenti. No! It's one of my gouramis, and like literally just 2 days ago, I was showing them and I was saying, oh no, they're fighting kind of rough. I hope they're doing okay. Shoot. That sucks. Where's the other one? They were actually sparring like I was worried it was too hard for both of them. Oh man. And then I moved the other ones to another tank. I don't see... Oh, there's the other one. And it's in the corner. And its tail is beat up like it's been fighting. Man, that is a bummer. And they're not cheap. Like, these ones lasted a little more than 6 months. But, man, that is a bummer that they fought it out to the death. The other thing I always like to check this time of day is the Medaka to see how many eggs they're going to give me. They're kind of like pseudomagills in that they'll lay eggs on a mop or on any vegetation you leave in the tank. This gal has some eggs. And then each day you can either clean the mop or you can move the mop and rotate if there's a mop in the tank at all. But here we'll get her to come forward in a sec. Is that the one that has the eggs? Yeah, that's the one with the eggs. So she's got eggs and she's holding them under her belly or by her belly, by her cloaca, which is her all utility hole. But I think this is her again sneaking out right here. There might be 2 of them that have eggs. I'm not sure. But I'll deal with them after the show because they just must have had them. Or because about 20 minutes before the show they didn't have eggs. So sometimes they actually have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 eggs. You know, the most I've ever gotten on Medaka is 28 eggs to come out at a single time. Yeah. Also, my rainbow darters, or not darters, my rainbow shiners, they're growing out good. They've gotten pretty big. These are the ones from Aquatic Arts. Actually, so are the rice fish. Pretty much, like, anything that I have that's not some super rare species of fish is from Aquatic Arts, usually. And then these are the black Medaka rice fish, the variety that's kind of like it's got sparkles and it's black. And then in here we also have the scarlet batis that Alyssa hooked me up with, which I'm not seeing them right now, but they do have a nest like right here somewhere, and it's oh, there it is. I just had to put my finger on it to instigate that defense. So I'm going to take those Medaka out and see if we can actually get some babies out of these ones, because I'm sure they're in the mood with the way they've built the nest up and everything. So, yeah. The other thing, somebody that asked about the Endlers, the only thing that's really going on new with the Endlers was I got some of these Endlers. Well, you've got my these ones, which are called my bell bottoms, and that's a coal. But then I have the blonde gene that I'm kind of splicing into that, and that's why they've got all these females. But you can see that bright yellow color. Well, that's that gene, the blonde gene, which it's not leucistic or albino or anything like that. It's actually like a yellowish color, and they call it blonde in guppy genetics. But oh, here he is. This is the one where I crossed 2 of my lines that I've been keeping, and he just ended up with the coolest dorsal markings, right? Isn't that cool? So I put him in here too, even though he's not really on point with the game plan. But yeah. Alright, let's see here. Alright, I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip down and looking forward to all the entries for Packable. Well, me too. Mary Page, thank you so much for the super chat. You rock. Thank you. That's very sweet of you, and I appreciate it greatly. So, Come on, focus. Focus. Enhance. Alright, there we go. Oh, that's a scud. These are what I feed, basically, the gouramis. Man, that's a bummer that I lost mine. But what I was going to show you guys is the fact that in here, in the Caridina, I mean, there are Neocaridinas in here, but it's mostly Caridina. So we've got the tiger, the orange tiger, or tangerine tiger, whatever you want to call them. And then we've got a bunch of babies now in here too. Let me try to stir some of the shrimp out. Then we'll look at my the big entry bowl for the competition. But I got these steel red coals. Steel as in like the metal, the composite of, what is it, aluminum, or I mean of iron and carbon steel. But there's a bunch of babies right here that are all Caridina babies, which usually when I keep Caridina, they don't have babies that often. Like, they have a few and I never see them growing up. Whereas the ones I've gotten from Grant Eater, from Garden of Eater Shrimp, man, they've all done awesome. Like, I still have every single one, I think, in this 2.5 gallon tank, and it's just a big old Skittles bowl surprise of them. But the cheetahs, that's what this one is one of the cheetahs. She's already given birth, and so now her babies, I'm trying to find one. Her babies are mid-size, like this one here is probably one, are mid-size, and they're kind of clear with a little bit of blue. So they're looking good. And then the steel coals are pretty neat looking. There's some are blue steel and some are red steel, I think. But some of them have like a greenish tone, some of them have orange, some of them have like a burgundy up on the head, and then the eyes are red, like a ruby red. So that's all neat. And then the Stardust shrimp also gave birth, which is also exciting. And then so did some of the Neocaridinas. Like, here is a Neocaridina baby, like one of the Rilleys or Rileys, also gave birth. Alright, let's see here. Do I do water changes on my Nano bowls or just top-offs? I just do top-offs. Yeah, I just do water top-offs, and I find that works best as long as it's planted. Yes, I mourned that fish for 30 seconds. Yeah. No, yeah, it's a bummer that I lost it, but oh, and by the way, these are green pencil fish, these ones here. So yet another pencil fish. These were like $3.99 at the local store, and they're like a seafoam green at the right angle, and kind of a copper tone from another angle, kind of like color changing paint on a car or whatever. And then the Samfong Rasboras that are in here, they do much the same thing, which is always fun to look at. So that's just a little side note of some shenanigans and fun. Let's see here. How do I sex the Scarlet Baddis? Usually Barry White. Sometimes a little bit of Tom Jones. You know, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. No. So, sexing Baddis, the baddest way to sex a fish, let's get them to come out. It's very obvious when you have a female compared to a male. When you see them side by side, it's not so obvious when you're at the store and it's like sneaker males and females. Now this tank is going to be a bit of a mess because of the debris, and I think she's going to be guarding the nest, but that's obviously the male, right? And see those prominent blue lines coming down his pectoral fins? The female will have that, but no red color whatsoever. Now, also the female may have a little bit of blue iridescence on the non-red part. You see how it's bluish gray? She may have that, and then she'll have dark gray, but she will not have any red at all. So let me try to get her into view. Please tell me the females are still okay. Here we go. Good. So here comes a female. Look how obvious that is compared. So she's got the gray, and she doesn't even have much blue. And then that top fin also, the dorsal fin, it kind of goes, it swoops and then goes up, whereas the males is rounded. Like the males is and they're not very nice to each other until they've established a pecking order and a nest and all that jazz. So I should leave them alone now is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, they're pretty easy to tell. The problem is that they have notoriously been known to also change sex, which makes it so much harder. Um, I had some Elasoma in here, and I was going to show you how similar they look, but I don't think we're going to be invited to their little party. They're pretty shy. Alright. So, I saw we have a $20 super chat. Holy cow, Dr. Pepper, Nail Polish Fund, and because I love everything you do. Holy cow, what a nice comment. And a bummer that a fish was... You know what? That... Thank you very, very much, Santa Doo-Doo. And yeah, it really is a bummer when I lose a fish like that. I'm being obviously kind of sarcastic and blasé about it, but one, like, no, I don't have a lot of money to spend on fish right now, so it is a bummer to lose a fish like that. But two, you know, when you keep a fish for 6 months and you do your best, it's a bummer. And I'm not going to stay at home and cry about it or anything, but that's something when you come in and you're expecting them to be one healthy, happy, you know, situation, and then you look in and it's just, yeah, it really sucks. Oh wow, look at this. I'm gonna turn this around real quick too. So it looks like the so we have several things going on. The neat thing is the Bacopa Monieri is blooming, which is always pretty. It ends up looking like this kind of deep lily, or I don't know, iris or pitcher kind of looking bloom, and that's one right there, right there, that fell from the other day. And then the newest one, which has literally been here just today, is like a really nice purple towards the base and then blue, and it would probably fall off if I touch it any harder. But what's cool is where they bloom from is, see this here? In between those leaves is actually the bud. There's not like a little nodule. It's like a little teeny sandwich that will open up and the flower will come out in one day from there. But what I was going to say is that the gouramis have built quite the foam nest. And I have like a horsefly in here. What the heck? But yeah, the gouramis have built quite the foam nest there, which is great. Because the other day we saw a foam nest, and these are the thick-lipped gouramis from Lake Inlay. And here I know is a little female, and she's looking a little dingy compared to the males, which have been competing, and they're like super colorful. But I think the male that is responsible for blowing the bubbles, yes, he is the prettiest of them. That's got to be his work. Oh, and here he goes. He's cruising around, and he's with the female again. So hopefully, actually, let's see if there are any eggs in here. I don't want to ruin all his work Whoop, well, there goes that. I am ruining all his work. I don't see any eggs yet, but that's a really good sign. And I've never bred the thick lip gourami, but they're really a cool fish and fully grown at like not much larger than my pinky knuckle. Um, and some are striped, but the ones from Lake Inle are not. They're the yellow, and they're the ones. They actually have a little bit of blue in their uh, top fins and tail fins, and they're just really cool. But the females can look a little raggedy sometimes. All right, back to reality. Back to life. Back to reality. Are you guys ready to see my bowl? My blue suede bowl? Let's see here. And Xanadu, thank you again. I see everybody thanking him for me, and thank y'all too. All right, let's look at the bowl. Let me get back to the back to the start. Yellowstone, what's up? Michelle, what's up? We got so many great folks in here. I know, Eduardo, no Saturday morning cartoons. I might have to wake up myself and do trivia. Which reminds me, I want to do a deck of cards with historic and just interesting trivia. Like a shrimp's heart is in its head, and what does the Latin name, or what fish has the Latin or the Greek name? What fish's name means helmeted skin, or you know, something like that, and then have corridor. Yeah, so I want to do some fun trivia at some point. Maybe I will get my butt up in the morning and do it. If you have a question, please do the @ Secret History Living in Your Aquarium or @ Alex. Sorry guys, I'm not doing a good job keeping up with the chat today. It's just it gets harder as there's more of y'all, and there's like what 100 plus of you guys in here most of the time right now. Which is great to see. So thanks for coming in. And if you have questions, that's great. But I just I wanted to explain why beyond me bouncing around like I've got ADD beyond belief, going from tank to tank. That's the other reason why. All right. So now let's take a look at the tank / my bowl. All right. So I'm still waiting for the water to clear up, and I'm still training the plants. I have been for a few days, but essentially, again, I'm doing an Iwagumi inspired the way it's weighted with the hardscape. And then this piece of wood has a long history, and it was a dual piece of wood that Tom Barr brought back from California and brought to the Aquascape shop in Seattle, known as Aquarium Zen. And this was one half of the wood, and the other half is actually all stuffed in that tank over there now, like in a heap under plants. But this was up in that tank where that gourami was just found dead, unfortunately. And all this moss had grown on it. So I stole the stick out of it after literally spending probably 30 hours hunting through the woods and going to 3 different beaches and going to 3 or 4 different stores looking for the right stick. I literally was laying in bed and I looked at it and I was like, why didn't I just use that? Because I used to be in an Aquascape in a 40 breeder when it was 2 sticks, and this was the piece that stuck up and almost out of it. And I always thought of it as almost like I thought of it like it looked like a lightning strike, like the jagged movement of lightning. And the stick actually broke when I got struck by lightning, not like magically right when it happened, but like when I was pulling it out of the tank a few weeks after I got hit. The piece broke apart, and yeah. So in any case, it's got moss on it that's just terrestrial moss, and it needs good humidity or it'll die, but it's kind of grafted onto the wood pretty well. And then this is all Marimo mossball algae, and then this is just Hydrocaudal japonica, or the Japanese moneywort, basically. And right now it's kind of floated up and been a mess. But for a while I did have it wrapped in a nice vine fashion. But that just isn't meant to be, I don't think, unless it happens naturally. Like it's hard to rewrap it. But that's the goal in the long run. And then down here we've got Logonandra carolensis in here, which should have a reddish and metallic hue to it. And then we've got what's it called? Hydrocaudal minutia? No, hydrocaudal. It might be minutia. I'm trying to remember the name of this one. It's not verticillata. In any case, it's one of the hydrocaudals that's the small ones. It's a mini version. And then we've got another Logonandra boldi, so it'll need some light. And then we've got another red. This isn't a tiger one, but this is the red spiralis crypt. And the ones that are just red and not tiger red, they have a green line going through the red, and they're better suited for low light. And then we also have what is it called? Ludwigia lacustris, which is a hybrid that only exists in 2 or 3 lakes naturally in America along the Appalachian mountain range, and it only reproduces by breaking apart and floating. And so that's why it's only in 2 lakes, but now it's in the hobby, and so now it will be elsewhere. Then over on this side, you can see we've got Rotala colorata, and then, not Rotala, Bacopa. And then we've got Bacopa Monieri again. And then this is growing so fast that in like 4 or 5 days, my Mayaca has already almost reached the top of the thing. And I planted it at maybe this tall, but it just reaches for the light. And then over here we've got Rotala butterfly and Rotala Vietnam. And then over here we've got more normal Mayaca and Mayaca red, which just means it has a red stem. And then over here we've got a crypt axelrodi and some Ludwigia repens red. And that is what's in this tank. I am making a video on it also. But yeah, right now the clarity's not super duper trooper. But you guys kind of get the picture of what's in here, I think. I am a little concerned that the Bacopa has turned so red. I don't know if this is just dust and debris or if it's like melting. It looks like it's kind of melting. Man, my fingers are messed up from working on stuff. Yeah, it looks like it's melting. Now, I don't have any critters in here yet because I wanted to make sure it was well cycled, in that this is a filterless tank, and the way my filterless tanks always work is they always have sand at the bottom, coarse stone, so that fish poop and mulm and all that can get layered into here, which will then act as a secondary cap, which will then usually make this anoxic or at least anaerobic, and then or the other way around, I should say. It will make it anaerobic, if not anoxic. And then this will still be aerobic due to the plant roots and things. And you'll see a few plant roots coming down through here. But then there's really a layer about 2 inches thick of ADA Amazona. But ADA is, it has nitrates and nitrites and ammonia in it. So it leaches out into the water for up to a month or so. So that's why I capped it, and then I put Fluval stratum above that a bit. So it's running pretty rich. It wouldn't surprise me if it got an algae bloom, but it doesn't need to make it past algae bloom age before I can enter it into the contest. But yeah, so the thing I'm trying to figure out is what fish to put in there. And if you're thinking of a small container with no filter, then there's 2 things that really you want, or 3 things that really you want to consider about the fish's well-being, which is 1, what fish already enjoys being in a small space or living in a small space. It doesn't move a ton. So like those batis are a great example. They hang out in their little nest and then they defend it. Or elastomas are great. This now this is a 5-gallon jug, and about a gallon and a half, a little over a gallon to a gallon and a half, is taken up by substrate. And so it's really more like a 3.5-gallon thing now. It's basically too heavy to lift because of how thin the glass is and like where you'd have to grab it from. So like I don't know how I'm gonna move it exactly. I might just take pictures, put up like a sheet here, and take some pictures of it with the light on it, like so. But I could probably do a water change and get it cleaner one more time. But I've done a lot of rinsing of the substrate and things. But eventually you'll lock in the layer of the ADA with mulm and little debris and dust. Miss Shell from Australia, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. And Dee Dee, good to see you as well. Great to see you, Miss Dee Dee. Always love seeing you. You light up my day. So that's kind of the idea or the thought of this jar. But the other thing I was going to say is, so you want a fish that is okay with the small space. You want a fish that's okay with low oxygenation. In this case, I'm not going to heat the jar either. So you want one that's okay with whatever your house temperature is at, which mine should stay between 65 and 85 ideally, with the little AC we have. And then you want to also, think about how it's going to be fed. If it eats live food and you're willing to do that, that's actually way easier because it's going to produce far less organic waste and mess and buildup. So any sort of fish that eats algae and plants is a great choice. I mean, even like a little Florida flagfish would work well. And yeah, as Arya says, you could use Daphnia if you get green water starting to grow. Daphnia, lots of little copepods work well, and same with little seed shrimp. Any of those are definitely going to filter feed off of the single algae. Zenginger says, God, I'd be so broke if I lived in local fish store distance of the co-op. I know, I just went there today and I spent, I had to get more fry food for all the fish fry that I'm always dealing with. I like their fry food. For prepackaged fry food, I like theirs the most. Look at my lazy little Venezuelan Corys. They're all just kind of chilling on like leaves. Oh, and the beta's gonna like tell them what's up. But yeah, I couldn't help myself. I bought these little guys. These are also known as the hockey stick or dipstick pencil fish. And honestly, I'm having a really hard time telling the difference between those and these, that's not a good example, really. These, and again, these ones have never been bred in captivity, and I want to do that. I want to breed them in captivity. So my crazy thought was, well, get the next closest species, the one that has been bred in captivity a bunch of times, the Nanostomus, and or Nanostoma equus. Look at this one; he's just hovering at that angle. They hover at that angle. If you didn't see the video this morning, they hover at that angle because look at plants; they all have that angle. So these plants, as they grow in the daytime, usually whether it's up or down, their leaves have that angle, and it's they don't know why, but it's about a 37-degree incline. And the way these fish are splitting up, that looks like a different species to me than this. In fact, it is. Look at the tail fin. It is for sure. I think Aquarium Co-op has a mix of fish. Unless I'm completely off and the genders are way different in this species, that's two species of pencilfish, 3 and 3. These three are different than these three. I'm almost positive because look at these, which are supposed to be different than all those that are in the tank. They look very identical to the top ones. Here's another one in better lighting. Hold on. Get out of all the glare. Come on, buddy. So, again, there's that bottom tail, and there's red and black on the anal fin that's not really showing right this second, but let's see if we can get a shot of it. And that's exactly what we're seeing on that anal fin there, but not this anal fin, which is clear. And again, you can see in between the scaling on those top three and not the bottom three. I think they sold me two different fish. And yes, there are some that come from two different regions, and the ones from the north, from the Guianan Shield area, they tend to have a anal fin and a caudal peduncle fin, which I love saying. Their caudal fin and their caudal peduncle, which is the area right before the fin, their tail, for lack of a better, the meaty part of their tail. They have a smaller fin there, and it's not as colorful in the north. Whereas in the south, it can be blue, green, or it can be the purple and blue, like you were seeing. It can be a range of colors. These guys are going nuts. We must have a low pressure front coming in. They're just going up and down and up and down. So my thought was, even though these guys get huge, my thought was, oh, that would be really fun to put these loaches in that jar or that jug, because they would go up and down and they'd swim a lot, and they can live in low oxygen water. They can live in high nitrate water if they need to. They're just a hardy fish. I mean, they can live outside of water as long as they're damp for like a day. And they can breathe air, obviously. So, yeah. I think they might be the ones for the jar. So that's the jar. That's the packable contest. Hey, Zen Ginger, thank you so much. Secret supporter, above and beyond. Seriously, thank you, though. I know you've been a member before and all that jazz, and thank you so much. Alex, what is a filter? I don't, memberships lapse, credit cards lapse easily, or if you changed a credit card, got a new credit card, your address changed and it didn't follow on the credit card, who knows? But I'm so glad that you're back with us. I've unsubscribed or unjoined memberships to channels so many times and been like, no, right now I'm doing so. I'm only subscribing to 5 channels at a time, and I'm picking the 5 and then rotating through who it's going to be. And I'm trying to find channels that have $5 and under. In theory, uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's only $1.99 to join as a membership on my channel and get access to everything that the higher level members get access to, which is actually pretty much everything that everyone gets access to, rather just in written form too. But you can also interact with me and name a fish in theory. But that's what makes it special. That thank you, the Zen Ginger. I really appreciate it because you could have just selected lurker, which is more than fine. I mean, you could just be watching, which is more than fine, but you decided to go above and beyond, join, and select the above basic level, which all of y'all, that means a lot to me. Yeah, it's hard to tell though when memberships lapse. It doesn't really let you know or anything. That happened to me on Kenny's channel, the Danikin channel, so many times. Mark Strelson, I thought the rules of the competition were that any animals had to be permanent residents. Oh yeah, you're right. Loaches would outgrow the bull. You are definitely right. Um, there is no Discord for this channel yet. There may be soon, although I just found out a lot of information about Discord, which makes me worried. Mostly the fact that they are storing way more data than like Facebook or anybody like that, and that they are clearly the shares that they have not on the public market, but rather with traded between the private company owner investors. They have, when they've done valuations and things like that, and predicting income, Discord has massive like Google amounts of info on each user, and they also have written in their quarterly earnings meetings and things that they're talking about charging $10 and basically locking everyone's account, and they're arguing at one point of what that price point should be. Should it be $5? Should it be $10? Should it be $20 a month? But doing that, it's like almost like if Facebook had done that, which they haven't so far, which almost surprised me. But no, we don't have a Discord yet. And after reading that information that's come out from some of the sources that I've read it on, there's also a YouTube. I mean, just YouTube search for like Discord evil or Discord bad company or something like that, and they go through quite a bit of evidence. You'll find there's like an hour-long documentary that was done, and it wasn't done by CoffeeZilla, but it was done by another one who's really good at doing the investigative journalism type YouTube stuff. Everything's cited really well. You can go there and read it yourself, see it yourself. But I do really like how Discord is plugged into like every facet of video, audio, and you can link it up with other stuff. So it may still happen. My initial reaction was yes, but I need someone else to monitor it, like other mods that are very, very involved to keep it fun and like useful. But right now, as it is, I spend, like, people are always like, how can I get a hold of you? And I'm like, talk to me in the comments. I spend 5 to 7 hours a day usually answering comments on YouTube. So that's the easiest, quickest way to get a hold of me. But if you want to share pictures and stuff, the Facebook group is a really good way. If you don't have Facebook, a lot of people tag me on Instagram and stuff like that. But, or send me an email. But between all those places, it's really hard to juggle. And so I feel like if there is a Discord, I'm going to kind of need folks that want to head it up to basically do everything for me, like repost and moderate and all that. Like, because I honestly just don't have time to do another platform and like do the day in day out, unless I use an app that posts like, oh, here's a post that I'm posting to all the social media stuff. But as far as like, and I could come in and chime in and interact and all that, but yeah, it's just it's just another thing, and a lot of people don't ever want to use. Um, they don't want to use uh, another tech thing. Like a lot of baby boomers, a lot of Gen Xers. It seems to be the millennials or young Gen Xers that are really hardcore into the Discord, or gamers of all ages. But yeah, it's kind of a thing where like some people think everyone's on Discord and then other people don't even know what it is. So yeah, but I feel like, yeah, I don't mind a presence on there. I would like it, um, because so many people ask and because it is so open with sharing. But at the same time, like if I do set up a Discord ever, my personal stuff is not getting shared at all. Like the way, you know how it shares like a camera? Well, it's scanning all your photos. And a lot of tech stuff does that. But their disclosure info, when you read the fine print, is crazy. Like as far as like when you're uploading it, the preview to show the thumbnails in the picture, it's scanning it and then it's assigning word tags to that and then putting cookies in a folder that are like saying, you know, picture of a dog, picture of landscape, possibly the beach. You know, it's I don't know, it's scary. um, oh no, your local pet store was robbed last night, huh? Robbed or burglarized, like someone broke in, or yeah, read the info on Discord on your own. And if you think that it's bad, then that's, you know, that's it. I didn't mean to like tell anybody like no, stop using your social media app of choice. Um, let's see here. Yeah, uh, Taylor, it's all good. Let's see here. You should consider going with Rico and Stefan on a members only Discord. Would give another benefit to members, and you wouldn't have. Yeah, you know that's totally something that I would like to do. Father Fish tried to have me on his, and I just said I don't want mine to be divisive based on political matters. Like it can be divisive on the fish keeping matters, but I didn't want it to be like you know that I want to include anybody who loves fish basically. Um, all right, let's see here. I didn't keep up with you guys as usual. Alex, so you're saying yeah, all your porn would be on the Discord. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen basically. Grant Eater, what's going on, man? We were looking at your shrimp not long ago. Very cool. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So, somebody asked what anoxic filtration or filter should I use? And the answer is the one that gets created by doing sort of a Wallstead tank. Like honestly, if you do this style layering, you're gonna trap in by default. You're gonna make basically a slow moving plenum, not in the, like very slow moving, but this water does move with heat changes, with gas being released from nutrients and organics being broken down. In fact, some people recommend putting a layer of leaf litter in here so that you actually do get the gases moving up through the layer, just like a real lake bed. But basically what will happen is the mulm and the silt and some of this stuff like grinding against each other over time, just from water changes, whatever, will then create a silt layer, and you'll get a silt layer that's like half an inch thick in several years, and that creates a cap. Then you'll end up with an anoxic filter. And by anoxic, I mean very low amounts of oxygen, but the water's moving almost like a plenum. If you want to speed that up, if you think that faster moving water, which it's not super clear on how fast the water needs to be moving, what volume needs to be moving versus what's too much. But what I did in other tanks that seems to work very well is what I'll do is I'll take a piece of PVC pipe And instead of this gravel, like hard stone, I'll use pumice stone or lava rock so that it's lots of space for bacteria. And then you want to add something with iron, something with sulfur, and something with manganese and zinc. Whether that's just those elements slash chemicals, nutrients, fertilizers on their own, that's fine. Or whether you want to use something like add some eggshells, and then we're going to use a little bit of an old rusty 10 penny nail or whatever, 9 penny, 10 pound nail, whatever, an old nail. And then the other layer, this is going to be your organic layer or your soil, your stratum, and then you've got sand on top of that, which in this tank it's mixing, but that's okay. And also as these little balls of soil break down, you're gonna get more surface area, and every single surface in this tank. Hey Alyssa, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Like root tabs, Tampa Tom. Yeah, root tabs can work, definitely. The thing is, root tabs tend to be designed to kind of melt, dissolve, and then be uptaken by your plants. Whereas if you put like a little piece of metal in there that you know is iron, you'll end up with that oxidized rust, the oxidized version of it. Hold on, let's turn this around. Um, but. Okay, so then what you'll get is all these little surfaces, and even now, even just a few weeks old, check out see that like layer of slime, and it's almost like algae and some sort of, um, oh, bye, Miss Shell. Uh, and on this stone there's like dust that's just been floating in the water and whatnot. So to me it's very interesting to see that, and I don't like to rush it if I can help it. um, but you can actually see where it's settling and creating these little micro layers of proteins, and that those are aufukes. And then what I need to do with this jar still is spike it with all the little seed shrimp and little critters that are in my older tanks. When we look under the microscope in my recent videos from a few months ago, you can check out what all was under there. But once you get all that in, then you can worry about shrimp or snails, a few of each of those, depending on the size, and then you'll focus on your fish. But there's not really an anoxic filter per se that's out there to buy. You can make your own like laterite biocenosis setup if you want to follow Mr. Novak's preaching, but I haven't been convinced that, at least on a small scale, that it works better than the Wallstad system, which is technically, just replicating nature, having various strata for your substrate, and it's a thick substrate, and then having plants and having enough light to process the nutrients. And then, if the nutrients get too high, you do a water change. But ideally, within a month or so of a tank cycling, or a little cup or bowl, whatever it is, it finds a happy medium, and then you can just do top offs of the water. You don't actually need to do full on 30% changes or whatever it may be. Like in my other tanks, or other small bowls and things, some of which have been set up for years on end, I've kept things like rice fish, batis, elastomas, bettas, and people will argue over, if you should keep a betta in a small group or whatever, or in a small bowl rather, not group. But I wouldn't keep a betta in something like a 1 gallon like this, but I would keep one in that jug easily. The other thing that these tanks are great for is growing out fry, because the tank actually just serves as just filling it full of infusoria and little biofilms and stuff, especially if you leave it in a windowsill, it'll become like a green water tank. And then if there's no fish in there and even no shrimp, then you really have a situation where over time, by just putting different pieces of substrate, different things from other tanks you have, if you've got other old established tanks, you'll be introducing all sorts of stuff to that tank, to the new little bowl or tank, and you'll make it a very happy tank. Mick, are you? I see that you're here now, Mick. Are you a pencil fish expert? I feel like you might be, um, but we've got a pencil fish situation where I bought these pencil fish today, and I bought these ones. See how their scales look like they have dots on them on the upper three, whereas the lower three are very smooth and streamlined. I think I got a Nanostomus equus and Nanostomus una fasciatus. I think these are the una fasciatus and these are the equus, if I had to guess. But you can see that there's like a two-color thing here, and then the anal fin has no color, whereas here the anal fin has a black and red square that's hard to see on the camera. And then the lower fin doesn't have a pattern, it has just the black. And then these ones are for sure for sure Nanostoma una fasciata, which look identical to me. Here's another one over here. I'm trying to see that red. Let's see if we can get it to show its red anal fin, the little block of red and black on the anal fin is really what is the tell. But again, you can see that texture on the fish. You can see the darkening here. See, it thinks it's nighttime or it's getting stressed. It's trying to hide horizontally, or vertically rather than horizontally. So I scared it. But oh wait, here's another one. And again, yeah. See its tail. See how its anal fin has the red with the little bit of blue, and then its back fin has no coloration. I'm trying to figure out. I think that they got two kinds of fish, because the difference is not supposed to be between male and female, is not supposed to be like this. This is just isn't it. But I'm just trying to confirm if anybody in here knows. But I thought Mick might. But again, you see that texture. You see the red and the black, or the burgundy and black on the anal fin there. And then on these ones, clearly you've got stripes and no texture on the top. Even a different shape of the fish. Like it kind of comes to a peak on there where their fin meets. And, come to think of it, I see a little dot on its head. On that one in the very back, it has a little dot, a little white dot, which I hope is just nothing. But in any case, I might end up quarantining those, even though Aquarium Co-op supposedly quarantines their fish to some degree. I think they still say that. I'll have to double check. But yeah, these guys definitely look more similar to me. That dot is not there most of the time. Like if we add more light to his situation, that dot will go away. He's just trying to blend in, and they have active camouflage that they can't control. All right, let's see here. How do you manage, Bunny says, how do you manage to control pH when using botanicals? Well, I start with water that has nothing in it, basically. I'm lucky enough to live in a place where our water is essentially RO water. It has a TDS of somewhere between 5 and 30 usually. And yeah, so there's that. And then I usually buffer the substrate either with just an aqua soil, and a few handfuls of crushed coral, or I will remineralize it with a mixture if it's like a lake or something that I'm trying to match with that. But as far as using the botanicals, I make sure that there's some buffer so we don't get a wild and crazy swing. So I'll make sure that there's some KH, some GH, like even if it's like 4 or 5, and the TDS is like 80, that's enough. And then I also like to see that there's some snails. Like this tank's really old now, but there's like empty shells too, and some live snails. So it tells me that like there's enough calcium for those to form at least. And then that allows me to know like that the rest of like even my shrimp, for instance, that they'll have enough um, calcium to create their keratin. Um, and then I can just add the botanicals, and I can just slowly add a catopoli for this or that. But sometimes, I mean, if it's a little tank and I'm trying to drop it really heavily, I'll use RO water, like real RO water, that has nothing buffering it. I'll just leave the top open, let it evaporate off and stabilize where it's going to stabilize. It might be at 7, it might be at 6 or whatever, but then I'll put the catoppa leaves in, or jackfruit or guava, because those have more nutrients, and then all of a sudden it'll swing without any KH or GH. It'll swing all the way down to like 4 sometimes. So yeah. Seriously, Fish had a cool nickname for it. Yeah, the Equus they call the hockey stick or the dipstick pencil fish, which is this one here, supposedly. Whereas the Una fasciatus, this one here, which actually its tail does more of that little dip thing. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what freaking fish these are. I'll do it on my own time, but I thought maybe somebody here could help me. Uh, somebody was a nanostomus expert. Um, let's see here. Bijan, hello. I love your nails, bro. Sorry if you already mentioned it, but I'm planning on making a correct ecosystem using MTS. Any suggestions on what to add besides mineralizing it? Well, if you already meant, I'm planning on making it correct. Mm, you're talking Malaysian trumpet snails. They do need a certain amount, and I mean, they're going to need all your trace nutrients. However, if you're feeding them fish food at all, they'll get that. If they're just eating algae from the bowl, they won't. So that's why the team or the combo of fish with snail or fish with shrimp and the snail are eating that, when they get those scraps, they or even eat the fish poop, then they're getting all those complex proteins and things that don't get completely broken down and processed and absorbed. They're reabsorbing that multiple times, and in the process they're also taking the far more they're metabolizing far more nutrients that they can use, and then when they die it leaves a shell, obviously. But the thing with the Malaysian trumpet snail is they live long enough, a year or two sometimes, that then you've got the big shell, and they often bury themselves where they die, and not too many things eat them. But they do a great job on aerating the substrate. The other problem with them, though, is that they will explode in population if you have a lot of organic matter. So I would just say control their population with your like hand. Like grab some out of there if you see there's a bunch of little babies that are starting. That lets you know that your nitrates might be a little high, or basically that your organic waste, whether it's plant material or a dead fish or too many sheds from shrimp adding up or whatever it may be, too much fish food, then you know there's something in there that is building up and acting against your interest. But other than I mean, you don't really need to worry about anything extra with them. They'll get it from the substrate, from digging through the substrate, and from just eating all the things that they naturally eat. Outside the algae, what's good to feed Autosynclus? Biofilms they really like. So, um, anything that, like, if you have Bacter AE, that's a good thing. I know Aquatic Arts sells it. A lot of different shrimp retailers sell it, but it just encourages the growth of biofilm and like a combination of algae and cyanobacterias that are not harmful, and protist and little amoebas and other stuff that they actually, while they're eating it, they're eating all that stuff. They're eating all the little bits of protein and creatures that are on the algae and on the glass, in the biofilms. They're getting a little bit of all of that, and the fungi and the bacteria. Google had the answer. The non-brown red anal fins are unifasciatus. Okay, so wait, the non-browned anal fins are okay, yeah. So they are a different species. It's not just the gender or something. Okay, so Aquarium Co-op must have accidentally had. I bet they got them from the wet spot anyways. Cichlid Exchange, that a lot of, or they got it from Aquahuna. I think that's who they team up with. But I know they didn't breed them in captivity because you can't breed them in captivity. Nobody's done it yet, or at least nobody's documented it and supported proof. Everybody who's said they have and then had proof, it ended up being the equus. And that's why it's so important that I'm trying to figure it out. Red is male, but the slender looking ones like another. What? Oh, okay, sorry. I'm just reading back. Um, Does anyone have a Cameo Pro made in America? We bought one yesterday. I can't wait to make our own shirts. No, that's cool though. I grew out some guppy fry in my shrimp tank to eat seed shrimp, and it worked great as a test. Right on. Whoa, nice job with the scale on that tiny little bowl. The rocks are oh, thank you, Chance. I appreciate it. Um, so, guys, we're coming up on an hour and 45. And what I wanted to do, it's been real. I've had a good time. Thanks for chilling, for hipping and a hopping, a bipping and a bopping. Thanks for meeting my my dojoiest, most weatherlochiest friends. Boy, they're kind of making a mess in there. There was a bunch of algae and like whatever was in the pond in there with them. Look at their orange eyes. But I need to put these guys either in my pond or in a tank or whatever. They look all big when they're they really look identical as they get older. I also determined that they're the golden. Whoa! One just jumped completely out of the water like that high, like bobbed. Um, can be hard to separate them if getting 500 plus all wild caught. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mick, I would agree that those pencil fish, like they live in the same area. It would be extremely hard. I'm looking at them and I just read about them for hours, and I'm still like, wait a minute. So I'm not faulting Aquarium Co-op or the Wet Spot or anything. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, could they have done that? Like, in thinking about how the order process would go, and then like, do they come from the same area? One is probably tank raised versus wild caught, but then that tells me that they're both wild caught. So it's interesting all the things you can infer by just knowing a little bit of info. Like, oh, they mixed up these two things. Some pencil fish do cross. I don't know if their babies are fertile, but some definitely do cross. In fact, the equus and the unifasciatus cross. And people have reported it on the forum. Oh my gosh, I got my one-line pencil fish to breed. and it was one of them was the other one. But in any case, I think I am going to get off of here, and I think we'll do a live stream in the middle of the night or early morning so that we catch the Australians and the New Zealanders and more of the Europeans and maybe some of you crazy late night folks that I don't usually get to talk to. I really enjoyed who I saw. The thing is, I don't promise that in the middle of the night I will have anything profound to say, anything educational or useful. I just want to interact with you guys more as I'm not being able to keep up with all the comments and questions and things like that. I want to find more ways to stay plugged in with my community, with our community here. And again, yeah, the Aussies are here now. Exactly. So I've got the Aussies now, anyways. You're right. But I mean, I can make it a more convenient time for some people, like people who are morning people versus night people versus middle of the day people, those weird middle of the day people, the day walkers. All right, guys. Well, I have a brain that is wandering around my skull, just thinking about, well, mostly food, and that my wife is out getting dinner with her friend, and then they want to go meet and play pinball, and all I can think about is food. But pinball does sound fun. I haven't done that in a while. Thomas Seedman, hello. Be cool. I'll try. I'll try. Be cool. Aquapuncture, hey. And too coolie for schoolie in case I forgot to say hi. Hi. Um, all right, yeah, so I think I'm gonna roll out of here, but again, thank you so much, everybody. I always like hanging out. How do you guys like these more just hangout live streams where we're chatting and whatnot? I mean, I can sit down and not show you guys stuff and just chat like a lot of channels do. We can do that if you'd like. I'm just gonna get some B-roll and a green screen if we do that, like film one of my tanks for an hour and we can just put on loop or whatever. Or do you guys like this kind of crazy Alex is wandering around and rambling on and on? Or do you like the ones where it's structured and I have something I want to talk about and I kind of ignore the chat so we don't get out of order? I'm just kind of curious what you guys who are here right now, what you think. What is my favorite fish, Azad? Well, I would say my favorite fish is cod wrapped in battered cod. Actually, battered halibut. No, my favorite fish is probably the panda loach. They were a project for 5 years for me. I did get a few babies, none of them intentionally. It still mystifies me how to spawn them. Only 2 or 3 people in the world seem to be able to do it. And I just love their behavior, their size, the fact that they can dig cold water or colder waters. They're just really charming and really cool. I would say that's probably my favorite. Nino, Franklin, you like my rambling? Well, thank you. I'm going to tell my wife. Someone likes my rambling. Why not both? I like the idea of the green screen idea. Always enjoy browsing aquatic arts. Yeah, we need to browse aquatic arts again, too. They've had some really cool fish again lately. For a while, it was a little bit slow because importing was hard and stuff. But now they're getting ready to launch their new project, which, let me tell you, it's going to be pretty wild. It may change the fish hobby forever, honestly. It may not, but it has the potential to be a way more functional version of like Aquabid, Get Gills, eBay. I mean, I like Get Gills, but just honestly, like, yeah, it's going to be a lot more of like an app, or not app, but like thought out. It's going to have every species and care info on it, and then you can make a digital tank and you can have like a wish list of like what you're looking for in your tank, and then it'll look for trends in like the water parameters people are keeping their different types of fish in, and then suggests like lots of people are keeping this fish and that fish in combination. So I think there's just a crazy amount of potential in what Vivy is going to be when it launches, which is the owner of Aquatic Arts. Okay, thanks, Mick. I agree. I kind of do like the 15 or 20 minutes of just me starting with something to get my mind going. I need to light a candle. These dojo loaches, that water smells like it smells bad. The ponds they're in smell bad, which also makes me think that they would survive basically the basically the apocalypse um, in their water. On the trail, I'll probably be putting out a video tomorrow or the next day about this being year 2 of visiting the dojo loaches that I discovered last year. And I put one on the pathway that leads to the lake, and it's literally just like cruising along. About this little 2-inch long fish is going maybe a foot every 2 seconds or 3 seconds, just basically walking. I mean, it's doing like a snake, but it's like zigzagging, kind of slithering and flipping back, alternating between those things in a specific direction very quickly. And if it can stay damp, or its gills can rather, then yeah. Mm. One more question. Rocky and Miles, hello, by the way. I lost a pencil fish last night. The night before, his mouth looked a little funny, but was still eating. I lost a GBR German Blue Ram in the same tank to wasting disease 3 weeks ago. Any relation, you think? There could be. I would say I would get like a parasite cleanse, not for like worms, but rather for like fungal or protist specifically. Flubendazole or fenbendazole probably would be the best, or Paracleanse or Paragard, one of those. That's probably what I would use. Something that would, treat things like flukes and like the open sore type issues, and like velvet or cotton, like the cotton mouth type looking stuff. It could be something fungal, it could be something bacterial. It's more than likely, though, a little creature that lays eggs if it is contagious. If it's not, though, it's all probably a sign that you need to do more water changes, or that your substrate has organics that have gone bad to the point where it's making a lot of ammonia and nitrates and nitrites, and you've kind of got a swampy thing going on. So you might need to change out your filter media a little bit, like just half of it or something, or do more water changes. Make sure that it smells earthy and not sewagey. But yeah, I would say it's worth treating with those just to make sure. Alex, just one more tank. Could be a brack. Yeah, I know. I want one of those. Let's see here. Mick says, but I like rambling also. You are, oh, thanks, funny dude. With open knowledge and open for different views. Yeah, no, I'm always open for different views. Metronidazole, yeah, that should work too. Yeah, metronidazole would work too. That will also treat for bacterial to some degree. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it. Again, sometime this weekend, I'm either going to do an early morning stream or a late night stream again. And there should be a video about me collecting fish. Plus, I'm going to probably try tonight before I go meet up with my wife, since I have to go by the area anyways, or at least within, within 15, 30 minutes of it. Yeah. I'm gonna go try to catch some more of the dojo loaches. So again, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, members, so much. It means the world that you guys do that, and that I've got that steady, reliable source when YouTube algorithm goes crazy up and down and is never predictable. And then also, super chatters, thank you. Lurkers, always love you. Replay crew, love you. And of course, the people asking questions, commenting, chatting, you're what makes this community works. You are this community. So, of course, thank you guys. And anybody who is doing any modding or anything, awesome. Thank you guys for all that you do. It's so appreciated. I'll be back sometime, and if I know ahead of time, a few hours or whatever, I'll go to the community tab and I'll say like, hey, I decided I'm going to stream at 4 a.m. Pacific time, which would be what, 7 a.m. East Coast. But yeah, I'll try to announce it unless I just feel real foxy and decide to just pull one on you guys. All right, guys. Well, have an awesome night, day, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. And, of course, take care of your fish. Take care of your plants. Take care of the people around you. And, of course, take care of yourself first and foremost, because if you don't do that, you can't do all the other things, and what good is any of it? So, all right, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and help make the world a little bit better of a place. One task, one deed at a time. Go do something nice for someone who's mean to you, someone who doesn't seem to care for you. Show them that you still care about the world, that you still care about things. Or that fish that bites you no matter what. Some people are fish that just bite you no matter what, and as long as they're not too damaging, sometimes you just need to turn the other cheek and just try out a new angle of attack, and kindness wins in the end. So thank you so much. And thanks, Zen Ginger. And thank you so much to Liquid Zoo, all your links with all the times that go on for the fish fam stuff. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, the last thing I'm going to say is that Bob Steenfott and I had a live stream, and we're thinking of doing more of those. Maybe him coming on my channel, this channel, or me going on his again, going camping, doing something like that. So stop by his channel and let him know what you thought of it, if you thought something of it. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out. Have a good one. Cheers. And remember, Dr. Pepper is the banquet soda. Adam Shook, oh, you did it right before the end of the stream. Thank you so very much. Secret supporter, oh, you joined a level above even above the 190. Thank you so much. You didn't need to do that on so many levels, but it means a lot to me on several levels too. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you later. And I'll see you, if nothing else, on Monday. Bye-bye.